picked up 45 horsepower. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric and I am the tuner here at Proven Power Cycles. And today we got a pretty cool bike in. We got a 2024 ZX10r. This thing is gorgeous. And you know what? Let's show you the bike real quick before we get into it. So today what we're going to be performing on it is we're going against the grain a little bit on this one, guys, and I know some of you guys are going to get in there and give us a little bit of feedback and tell us what you think. But there is an issue with the OEM Quickshifter. Now in Woolwich, as of today, they have fields inside their program, okay? They do have fields inside their software that do let us manipulate it. But we have done a bunch of testing on it. We've tried to change the kill times settings in several drastic different ways. And no matter what we've changed so far, we have not been able to get that high RPM quick shift basically figured out to where it's nice and crisp. And we've made multiple changes. As far as I know, they're aware of this and they're working on it. But just like I said, we haven't had a fix for it yet. We've tried a ton of different settings. So sometimes it'll act perfect and it'll shift great. Other times it's just really laggy and it's not really consistent. So with that being said, what we've been doing lately is kind of averting people to do a different style quick shifter. And what we do is we turn off the OEM quick shifter and we install an aftermarket quick shifter on the bike. And we utilize that for right now. So some people are impatient. It's like, they're just like, hey, look, I don't want to wait. I want this thing to act right, and I want it to act right now. So what do you recommend? Let's go with it. And that's what we've been doing. So other people, they're like, hey, look, I'll wait. When everything's fixed, just let us know. You know, we'll come back and we'll get the quick shifter dialed in once once there's a solution for it. So anyway, guys, I just want to let you know that. So that's part one of what we're doing. And the other part is we're going to install a Sprint P08 air filter. So, and these install very similar to the older models. There is a little bit of a difference in the tail section with how you take it all apart. But for the most part, it's about the same as all the Gen 5s, Gen 4s, literally from 2011 and up. They're about pretty much the same style system, what you have to do to get to everything. So, so we're gonna do the quick shifter. We got the Sprint P08, and the last thing I wanted to touch on is, of course, in true fashion, like we always do on this channel, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a baseline, and after the baseline, we're going to do, so he's got a silencer in this, and he knows about this, okay guys? Like he's fully aware about it, but it is a good idea to run these silencers or decibel killers. They have different names for them, but it is a good idea to run these without having the tune done yet, because this creates a little bit of back pressure, kind of like an OEM cat. So the tune isn't too far off. It's a little off because you do still have a slip on. You did free up a lot of airflow, but this is a restriction. So it does kind of keep the tune a little closer so the bike doesn't drive as bad. It doesn't lean out as bad. But what we'll do, I'm gonna show you guys. What we do is we take those out because, again, it's a restriction in airflow. You don't want restrictions in your airflow. You don't want restrictions in your airflow. You don't want really restrictions anywhere on the bike. You want it all free so that it can make as much power as possible. Imagine, and this is the best way I can tell everyone, this is how I describe it to everybody, is imagine if you are working out, right? Now, picture I give you basically a coffee straw to breathe through, and I tell you to go work out, go do sprints, right? Go run your ass off. You're gonna get to a point where you're like, I cannot keep up. My breathing is too narrow. I can't get enough oxygen. I can't basically operate at my full potential, right? That's the same concept as the bikes. When you put restrictions on these bikes and you have a cat, and you don't want to get rid of your cat, well, guess what? When you're trying to free up power, all you're doing is telling that bike to run faster with a coffee straw. It doesn't work like that. You guys have to free up the airflow, okay? You have to do it. When you free up the airflow, the bike's gonna naturally want to run lean on most manufacturers, most models. It's gonna wanna run lean because you have so much extra airflow now. The Tune was not designed to run that much airflow. It's designed to run a restricted airflow, and that's why they put these restrictions on them as well, so that way they're not melting the cats. So, and again, we've blown these things out before on the dyno, where I was showing somebody, we were in the middle of a demonstration, and quite literally one of these silencers, not the M4, but we had a different one, where it blew out the silencer during the test. And I told the guy, I was like, look, this is just one pass. Imagine you out in the street and you're running it constantly like this. It's gonna just destroy stuff. So again, guys, we're gonna remove that. We're gonna show you how much power can be made. So what we'll do is we'll flash it with the silencer still in it, and I'll run it with the flash. And then what we'll do, we'll just pull that silencer out. We'll rerun it without the silencer, without any other changes, with a base map, just so you guys can see and be like, holy crap, with how much power that actually restricts. Tell me what you think it's gonna do. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think the power differences are gonna be. Drop a comment right now, pause the video, go down, drop a comment, and tell me what you think. And if you could also, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way with us. It helps support us by showing you more stuff like this. So I love making these videos for you guys, provided that you are getting value out of these and you're showing us some love. I'm gonna let Lewis start digging into this thing. I'll start showing some of it as he's digging into it. I gotta jump on the dyno. I actually got this bad boy to tune. This one has the ported throttle bodies, ported velocity stacks, and a couple other goodies on it too. So we're making a video on that bike as well. So I'm gonna jump on that. I'm gonna let Lewis get busy and we'll get back to it. All right, guys, I just wanted to get a little action shot right now. Lewis working, so he's got the harness all apart here. We got the airbox. He's almost done taking the airbox out. And as you can tell, we have the rear seat, we have the front seat, and we have this little piece. So what you have to do is pop this seat off, or pop this little cover off, and then this right here is actually what holds the rear seat in. It's a funky little mechanism, but basically it goes in and it locks in over there underneath those bolts, and it's just a sliding mechanism. So quite literally, you set it down, slide it, it locks, slide it back up, pop it up, and that unlocks it, and that's how you take off this front seat. So all you need to do is pop off that cover, and then here I'll kind of show you the gist of it. Kind of sits in like that. So your seat is going to sit down in here, and then this sits on top of the seat on the back. So as you loosen it here, you take this out, kind of finagle it, and then it kind of slides out like so. It's a little bit more complicated than that with the seat in place, and I'm doing it one-handed. So, but anyway, that's the gist of it, just so you guys can kind of see how it works. Perfect. So here it is. So we got the airbox out. Here's your throttle body assembly. It's nice and hot. And here's the coils, the ignition coils. So with the Healtech, what we're gonna do is it's a piggyback system. So we got to piggyback into these coils here. So you have 4 coils. It's a 4-cylinder. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's how they're numbered respectively. So cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. And so anyway, what we're gonna do, we're gonna route the harness up over here. We're gonna route this harness. It's gonna come up. We're gonna link it all into here, and then the rest of the harness is gonna tee off and then go towards the back, where the brain box is going to sit. It's going to sit back here. All of this we're going to sign into via Bluetooth. We're going to install a Healtech, so we can sign in via Bluetooth and adjust this on a Bluetooth, and then that's your sensor too. So it's very sleek, very stealth of an install. It's not like we're replacing the whole entire strain gauge. So, you know, and again, if there's ever a future update for the OEM Quickshifter, that's something that we could easily take this out and he could always sell it to somebody else. These harnesses pretty much fit a wide variety of Kawasaki's, not just the ZX10. We've come to realize it fits a lot of Kawasaki's. So this is very versatile, and it could fit on a lot of different makes and models. So this is the coil harness here. This is going to go into the coils, and then that links into that box that you saw earlier with the actual strain gauge, the actual Quickshifter. So bust a move. So as promised, we got the 24 ZX10. This is the Healtech routing right here. So this is the new piggyback system Quickshifter. Lewis did a really nice job, tucked it nice and clean here. So, but that's the routing. more or less, that's the routing. Now this one's different colored, this white with red, because that's typically an indication of your cylinder 1. That's the one you're gonna go off of, is cylinder 1 is gonna be this different color. The rest of them are gonna be green and black, if you notice that. So yeah, so Lewis, as we're gonna go on the right-hand side. I'm sorry, earlier I said the left-hand side, but he's gonna go on the right-hand side and then kind of duck the wiring up underneath the main wiring here and kind of route it over there back, you know, again, back teed into the sensor on the left-hand side of the bike. We got the Gen 6 on the dyno. So we got the Healtech all set up. We need to calibrate it still. I logged into it, just kind of made sure everything worked, and that was about it. So what we're gonna do, also, we're gonna do a little simultaneous test with all of this, okay? So we're gonna dyno it, and obviously the Healtech, we've done that plenty of times before. That one, we'll throw that in the video so you can hear just how crisp it is versus the OEM sensor. But the other thing that I really wanted to show, and I'll show you guys now, but I've shown this to other customers, and I made some videos in the past, but I don't think they were actual YouTube videos. I think they were more like reels or something, I don't know, years ago. And I used to show people this all the time, but I figured I'd show it in this video just because it happened again. So the customer came in knowingly with the decibel killer, silencer, whatever you want to call it. The customer came in with this already. He understands that to remove it, you know, it does better, etc., etc. But what I wanted to do is actually show you guys the exact difference between having it in and not having it in after you get the flash. I've shown it a few times on more recent videos of what it's like before the flash, but for those of you who aren't believers, or maybe for those of you who, you know, you're like, it's not that big of a deal, I'm just gonna leave it in there. This video is more or less for you, this part of it. This is gonna show you just how bad these are per se, like how much back pressure they still contribute and how restrictive they actually are. I'm gonna finish hooking this up. We have the RPM, the tach signal all hooked up. We got it strapped down. I need to hook up the wideband now so I can get my AFR reference, my air-fuel ratio. I'm gonna hook that up next, and once I get that set up, then we can go ahead and knock out this baseline and get started on this bad boy. So here we go. So we just got done baselining the ZX10, this Gen 6. And this is basically why you want to run the silencer in until you get the tune. The reason being is because it keeps your AFRs a lot safer than as if we were to pull that out. And now I've shown it in the previous channels with it removed. It runs way leaner, like up in the 14s, mid 14s, and then it kind of dips down into the proper AFR later on. But going over the baseline numbers, we got 155 wheel horsepower with 70 foot-pounds of torque. Now remember, this is with the silencer in. Now here's the other side of that. You're gonna have a very rich mixture too up top. When you have a lot of airflow, it's basically trying to get out of the system, and this is kind of what, whenever you leave these things in, it makes the bike typically run overall a rich mixture versus having it pulled out, having the silencer pulled out. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to put the ECU flash inside of the bike, right? This is just gonna be a base map, kind of like a mail-in flash, if you will. I'm gonna install one of those. We're gonna run the bike again, just like what we did. We're gonna run the bike again, and then what we'll do, we have to let it cool down just a little bit. We're gonna spray some WD-40 and whatnot, so because it's a snap ring in there, and with the heat, it gets kind of stuck. We're gonna pull that silencer out, that decibel killer, and then we'll rerun it, the same flash and everything. I'm not gonna make any changes. We'll just rerun it with the silencer pulled out, so you guys can see exactly how much power you're losing when you install one of these and you leave it in there after your ECU flash, okay? This is the best run here.
we made 173, almost 174 with 73 foot-pounds of torque. But overall mixture, super, super rich, because again, it's accounting for that extra airflow, not accounting for the silencer to be put in. And look, we have very minimal gains up until the end here, where obviously the bike is de-restricted, all that jazz. So, I mean, we have big, big gains up top still, picking up, I mean, that's 50 wheel horsepower, but again, that's where the throttle blades are shutting down. But we did pick up a solid 50 there. Here at 13,000 RPM, we picked up about a little under 30. Looks like 28 wheel, and a little closer here. Let's get 12,000 RPM. 12,000, we picked up about 11 wheel horsepower. So still very, very big gains up top. Don't get me wrong, that's still massive. But now watch what happens when we take this thing out and run it again. I'm not gonna make any other changes to the ECU, just gonna pull the silencer out and run it. So far, you've seen the baseline, you've seen the ECU flash with the silencer in, and now here's the ECU flash with the silencer out. Again, no modifications to the map. I have not touched the map since we flashed it the very first time, okay? Just to be clear, I labeled all the graphs for you guys. So here's our completely stock, hold on, let me zoom out. Here we go, all right. So this is our completely stock, the blue one that I've highlighted. This is completely stock. You guys already saw it. The green line is the ECU flash, right, with the silencer in, right, as you can see here in the label. And the red line is going to be the ECU flash with no silencer. And look at the mid-range. We'll pick a nice clean 9,000 RPM. We went from 108 to the ECU flash, put it at a 110, and now without the silencer, we are at 126. So we picked up 16 wheel horsepower in the mid-range, mid to upper range, just by pulling a silencer out. That was it. That's all we did. Now I had the ECU flash, but that's how restrictive these things are. Here's 11,000 RPM. Look at this. 152 to 166. We picked up another freaking 13 and a half wheel horsepower. That's from the flash, but now, again, this is just from the silencer. 14 wheel, 13 and a half. That's massive. And in here at peak, we picked up, let's see, 173 to 185. So we picked up another 12 wheel horsepower. Again, guys, these are huge gains. So let's compare peak power. So we started at 155, 70 foot-pounds of torque. We went up to 174 to 73 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're at 185 with 79 foot-pounds of torque. So we've already made a 30 wheel horsepower gain, and we're not even finalized on this tune yet. Now granted, it's pretty damn close. I'm not gonna lie, this bench flash was a really good one, but this one was already made for a bike just like that. Now full throttle's pretty close, as you can see. Full throttle's not too bad. I have some fine tuning I need to do all along there, but I will say this, partial throttle is definitely a different story. There's some spots in there that I really need to clean up in the partial throttle map. Once I clean those up, this thing's gonna be ready to roll. He's gonna be super happy. Stay with us. I'm gonna go ahead and get to, I'm gonna dial in this Healtech, and I'm gonna have a video on that so you guys can kind of see how quickly we'll go through the gears, because there's still some bad points in there. I haven't really calibrated it yet, so. Gonna start from the baseline, and we're gonna work our way up, just so again you can see the transition during all of this. We got the final numbers in. The bike is a monster. He's gonna be happy about it. So here's how we started again. Just to recap, we'll go over this really quickly. So here's the baseline, 155 with 70 foot-pounds of torque. Now if you look again,
having the silencer in, the decibel killer, really helps with keep this air fuel nice and rich versus not having it in. Now we go very rich and then it goes just basically almost off the chart at top end when they shut down those throttle blades. So let's fast forward. Now here is with the ECU flash and the silencer installed still. We have a bench flash, a very rich mixture going all the way across still. And we didn't gain a lot of power either. Now we gained a ton of power here at the top end, just de-restricting it. We picked up about 30 wheel roughly on horsepower at 13,000 RPM. We picked up about 30 horsepower, but look at the rest of the curve. We didn't really pick up any kind of power up until about the mid-range to upper end. Now again, that is with the silencer in it. So here is when we pulled the silencer out, right here. Now we're seeing some massive gains. Now we have about a 40 or a 20 wheel horsepower gain from stock. Now we gain 20 wheel in the mid-range from removing the silencer and having it flashed. So, and then up top, again, just even more pull. So we picked up another 12 wheel up top just by removing that silencer and having the flash as well. So, and the air fuel, pretty damn close, very, very close for a mail-in. That's pretty damn good, I'll be honest with you. And then here is with the final tune now. Now it's a little hard to kind of tell. I know I have a lot of graphs up here, so it is kind of hard to tell. But look at the green line now compared to the other ones. Green line is even higher than that mail-in flash. We picked up an additional 7 horsepower up top here, 7 wheel gain up top versus just the regular bench flash. And this is another reason why I like to have them here. We can play with the ignition timing, we can play with the throttle blades. There's a lot of things that we can kind of mess with to help pull up the power band throughout the entire pool. So, and we'll review the numbers here. So baseline 155, ECU flash with the silencer, we are at 174. Now pulled the silencer, we jumped up to 185. Now we're at our final with everything that we can throw at it, and we made basically 193 wheel. That is impressive. Torque numbers, we started at 70, jumped to 73, came to 79 with the silencer pulled out, and then we ended at 81 foot-pounds. Again, just monstrous numbers. Very, very, very impressive. And so what we'll do now, we'll just take the final number compared to how we rolled in at, and this is the type of differences you can expect to see. 154 to 181. I mean, it's almost 30 wheel at 12,000 RPM. If we pick 13,000 RPM, we're picking up 140, basically 145 to 1. So we picked up 45 horsepower at 13,000 RPM from when he came in to how he is leaving. Let me say that again. He picked up 45 horsepower from the time he came in to the time he is leaving the shop. That's crazy. That's insane. I mean, air fuel dialed in, everything is dialed in. I mean, that's basically like nitrous. I mean, you know, you put a 40 shot, 50 shot of nitrous on it, that's about what you're gonna pick up, is around that kind of horsepower. That's really, really, that just to give you an example, an idea how much power he's walking away with. That's a ton of power, and it's stock wheelbase and stock height. You know, I haven't heard from him yet. I'm waiting to get that text, but I am sure he is going to be happier than a pig in shit. So I'm really curious to see what he gets. Let's see, actually, let's take one more point here. Let's take 8,000 RPM. All right, we'll shoot 8,000 RPM real quick. We were at 87 wheel horsepower. We jumped to 104. What is that, 20? Yeah, roughly almost 20. We're at what, 17 wheel horsepower gain at 8,000 RPM. Again, if you guys have followed me in the past, you'll know 6% is like a noticeable. If you have a 6% rate of change, that's a pretty noticeable feel. Your butt dyno is gonna tell you the bike's changed. It's faster. We're closer to 18, 19. We're closer to 19% of a change. So you're triple that. This is triple the amount of what you normally would just feel on a bike. So again, it's gonna be an insane pull. I cannot wait to see what this guy has to say about it. So really happy. I love how this bike came out. I'm really glad that we decided to film this bike. It was a really good bike. This was an awesome example. I hope you guys have learned something. If you have learned something, please share this video, comment, like it, subscribe if you guys haven't already. It goes a long way with us. We really appreciate it. And that's really it, guys. Look for another episode. We're always producing them. Let us know if you have any questions. Comment down below. Tell us what you thought of this video. Tell us what you thought about the silencer. Let us know what your guesses were, honestly. Like, let us know what your real, true guess was on the horsepower numbers. We're really curious to see what you guys have to say about it. So let us know. We love you guys. Be safe. We'll see you on another episode.